Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Cureton, Senior Journalist from XR Today. As always, bringing you the latest and greatest in the VR, AR, and XR industries. Today, we have on an amazing array of guests that are going to be attending this show for today. We have on Charlotte Hornets Chief Marketing Officer. He is Seth J. Bennett. We also have two executives from MeetKai. Firstly, we have the CEO and co-founder, James Kaplan. And then we also have Weili, who is MeetKai's executive chairwoman and co-founder. So for the three of you, it's an honor to speak to you today, and thanks so much for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Brilliant. We're going to go ahead and kick things off. We're going to talk a little bit about MeetKai's latest solution with the Charlotte Hornets, my hometown team. I'm going to be really happy to finally chat about that. So firstly, we're going to talk a little bit about the collaboration. So what exactly sparked the collaboration between MeetKai and the Charlotte Hornets? I guess, Seth, would you like to open us up with that one?
Sure, I can do that. So we have a area within our organization dedicated to innovation. And their job is to really scour the world and find really neat things that we can do that will help us achieve our business objectives, and certainly engaging with our fans, meeting them where they are in the modern sense is at the top of that list. So at the beginning of the year, we were introduced to MeetKai and what their capabilities were. We had several internal meetings to understand how we could best use this technology and create something that would be compelling and impactful. And I'm really fortunate that we landed on creating a twin fan shop environment that mirrors and inspired by the actual fan shop here at Spectrum Center in Charlotte. So that's how the process began for us. And we're thrilled to be where we are just days from launching to the public.
Excellent. James or Weili, would you like to answer some of that?
I think just sort of echoing what Seth said, we have been working with their innovation group. Earlier this year, we first connected with them. And, a lot of the time is really spent on sort of looking towards what would be something that resonates, especially in the context of the anniversary season. And, I think that we've been able to come to something that is actually, fairly unique and sort of the first of its kind in the NBA of what these types of experiences can be. And we're very excited to kind of see how it resonates and how, the fans react as well when it goes live.
Absolutely. How about you, Weili? What would you say?
So, I am extremely excited because when MeetKai, especially James, such a talented inventor, innovator, develop him and team develop absolutely world-leading disruptive technology. But I'm also extremely excited, and we're so lucky to met Seth and team and Hornets and for the basketball, the industry, and because I used to play basketball. So passionate, very exciting to see great technology to enable this industry. And not only our technology is leading and disruptive, and we made it so ease of use, user-friendly, and highly scalable and affordable. Be able to reach people globally, and everybody can now see Hornets anywhere around the world. Isn't that exciting?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've always been a long-time fan of Charlotte Hornets, so it's now finally a great chance to see them in the metaverse. So hats off to all three of you. So we're going to chat a little bit about some of the other aspects of this metaverse experience. So we talk about some of the metaverse stores. How have these metaverse stores led to greater engagement rates compared to just like opening up a brick and mortar store? What's the difference, do you think, between the two of those?
So I can say, sort of from our side at least, the way we see it is that it's not necessarily about a replacement. I think if you look things in terms of like a pure replacement of like, oh, I don't need to open a store, I should do this instead. It's sort of you set yourself up for confusing KPIs. But on the other hand, if you look at it as like, how do we enable something that would previously be impossible, right? Like it's less a matter of like, we don't need to open a store anymore, but it's more a matter of like, for you, right? If you want to go to the virtual fan store right now, there's no opportunity for you. And saying, okay, you'll be able to buy a jersey the next time that you're in Charlotte is pretty impractical. So we see it as like these types of stores are about engaging people that couldn't otherwise do it, as opposed to replacement, right? There's no replacement. I think this is one of the things that a lot of people have had to come to realize is there's never going to be a replacement for the feeling of like being an NBA game, right? Like it's just a completely different thing from like watching it on TV. But there's a lot of elements that could have ways for someone who's watching it on TV be able to experience elements of what it would be like if they were there in person, right? So I think that's really the way that we see it from the MeetKai side, at least, of like what gets us excited here is that's, and the fan store is one of those biggest elements of being at a stadium. I mean, usually every time I've been to a sports game, I end up buying a hat, right? So I have a lot of hats from a lot of different teams. But like that's something that's fun for me as part of the game, right? Going halftime and buying a hat. But on the other hand, I've watched a lot of sports on TV, and never once during a game am I ever in a position where I say, "Oh, I should buy a hat." So I think it's sort of enabling that kind of like getting closer to the experience. But that's at least sort of how I see it from the MeetKai side.
Absolutely. So
Sure, and
yeah.
I'll add to that just the ability to, NBA is a global brand. We certainly have our experience in the global marketplace through preseason games and regular season games that we played abroad. And this is just another way for us to connect and reinforce a little further and create that opportunity, unique opportunity for our fan base.
Definitely. Weili?
Yeah, as I said, it's so exciting. I started playing basketball when I was 9 years old. So can you imagine, young age group, right? Can be inspired and also very exciting, be able to get jerseys. And I couldn't wait to order some through our MeetKai technology. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the things that I've noticed, and this is something that I'm sure that you've noticed as well, is that there is a large spike in the developments towards using the sports industry as kind of a way to get people to enter the metaverse, boost those adoption rates, and to try to get people, online and chatting about things, building a sense of community. So that's one of the things I like about MeetKai's solution for the Charlotte Hornets. And I'm sure that we'll see in the near future, this is something that a lot of other kind of sports teams will adopt. So have you yourself noticed a rising trend in sports companies leveraging Web3 and Metaverse technologies? And what is your ultimate goal, I suppose, with boosting that engagement? What do you think it'll look like in the future?
Our side or the Hornet side? I think they're both interesting. I mean, I would say from our side at least. The reason why sports is interesting to me is because it's something people care about at the end of the day. And I think that's sort of the premise that a lot of people have missed when they think about the metaverse or anything else is that, you have to start with something people enjoy and care about and kind of have feelings towards it, right? And it's one of those things where there are very few things I would say that, one, have that resonance, and two, have kind of elements around it that have community, co-experience, engagement. And people have tried things with like music to limiting degrees of success, I would say, because music isn't necessarily something that leads itself, even though it's music like sports is something I think that humans intrinsically have feelings towards. It's not necessarily something that can be possible to be enjoyed and experienced and talked about in the same way. Versus for us, we see sports as kind of the thing in that there's always stuff happening. There's storylines that happen every day. I mean, you look at the NBA, right? Think about the offseason the past few weeks, right? Things are always happening. They're sort of creating new content, people to talk about, engage with, think about, etc. So it's kind of the perfect place, I would say, as well. And I think lastly, I'll just say on the topic of like what we've seen in terms of other experiences that we've built. Really, a lot of this tech is most appealing to younger generations, and younger generations like sports. And in particular, the NBA, I would say, is doing a very good job of reaching Gen Z and Alpha right now. And towards sort of the point that everyone else made in terms of globally of what Seth and Weili are saying is that, overseas, I was in China for a while this summer and Indonesia as well. And a lot of people are wearing NBA jerseys. And it's interesting to me is that, it's not just like all like Lakers jerseys, right? With LeBron, it's like different teams, different players. People are actually becoming fans all over the world of teams and players. And I think that sort of like sports is a very exciting thing for us because that might be the thing that is the breakout of like consumer entertainment in the metaverse.
And I think in general for sports teams, we'll continue to look for ways to engage with our fans in different ways. And this is, yet another tool and opportunity for that. a unique way to make a additional connection, to stay connected to our fans in a different way that prior to this technology, in this virtual experience, we would not have been able to do that. So that's what we're looking for as we continue to grow our brand, but also again find additional ways to connect even to those who already have fandom for us or affinity for us, but give them just one extra way to stay connected.
Yeah, and Hornets, with the leadership of Seth and the team, they thinking about disruptive technology, right? Leveraging innovation. And so, take the leadership. I think they're going to be just a lot more efficient, effective. I mean, to, get all the great, whether or not it's brand, whether or not to help people for better life, happy life, because sports is very important. Because people say, "Oh, Weili, where do you get the energy from?" I say, "Well, basketball. When I was little, I got trained with the energy, right?" So I think all this, there's a multiple effects and all the positive, effects.
Yeah, definitely. And, you'll see like so many of the other kinds of teams, it's not just like, basketball is one of the major sports that they're tapping into. I've seen a lot going on with some of the premier teams like Man City. And they've recently opened one up with OKX, which allowed people to access NFT stores. There's another with, let's see, I think there was one with Arsenal, Tottenham Hotspurs I've seen recently, and a lot of other teams working with Jugo, I think it's the name of it. They've been kind of reaching out and actually giving this sense of community where different teams can interact with their fans directly. And that gives them a greater sense of co-presence, even with people who they've just normally just watched on the television in a passive manner. So, yeah, it's a great, great way to build audiences and build that kind of engagement. I was going to ask you guys also about this. Speaking of building that engagement, we talk about democratizing these experiences for sports fans. So what strategy have you implemented to bring that experience to the widest audience? Like, what would you say is in your technology stack that allows you to reach the widest audience?
So I think it's very much the being able to be accessed through the browser without plugin installs, without downloading a 2 gig Unity application, without any of these types of things, is being able to just jump right in. And, we see the way that younger audiences engage in terms of like how they move around their phones. And, oftentimes they'll be on Instagram or, any other type of social media platform, right? And they'll click some link or they'll see some post and click some other link. So, that's really what we see as the democratization factor, is that we're not telling people they need to have a special device with a special app store, download that special app in the special app store with your special device account, and then be able to enter. Like, that's sort of what I would say is the opposite of like democratization and what a lot of things have done so far, is making them, I think, there have been attempts, I would say, in the past to build community, but oftentimes what these things end up doing is making them exclusive, right? For one reason or another. And our goal really is that far-reaching adoption. And the technical way that we did that is by building it in the browser and not leveraging pixel streaming. Because if you start leveraging pixel streaming, which is the approach some groups have taken, you won't be scalable from a cost perspective. Just because with pixel streaming based solutions, you're looking at cost every single time any single user is in there for any amount of time. And if we're thinking about how do we enable people all over the world to access this and have fun, even if they're not, and not look at it like, oh, if someone comes in and doesn't buy something, we lost money. Like, that's not a tractable solution. So it's really like the technology of being able to run in the browser on the device, regardless of the device, is really the key technology enablement for democratization.
Definitely. Yeah, Weili, I was going to ask you also, what do you think about that specifically? Like, what kinds of other technologies, maybe cloud computing, things of that nature, to help it stream with so many people on the same platform?
We don't use streaming.
Oh, right. No pixel streaming.
That's the magic, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So our mission, I co-founded Marvell. It's a semiconductor global company, and in the last few decades, me and my husband, we have driving a lot of hardware chip technology in semiconductor space. And our mission always is, how do you build the greatest product with the highest performance, but it is really for global deployment, affordability, scalability. So if you look at what James and team have done in the MeetKai, and that's exactly, because think about this, our AI, generative AI technology, the metaverse is really serving the global world. How do you driving this today, the real world, and leveraging AI, getting so many things done faster, affordable, and energy saving. And that's exactly what MeetKai, accomplished from AI software side. So we are driving a global, I call the effort from end to end. And that's why even though today we're a private company, small company, but we have a big mission and vision, and we are leading the pack for this disruptive technology as a MeetKai from software side. But we also have a lot of disruptive technology from hardware side also behind that. So just stay tuned. We are like a very disruptive, bleeding edge kind of geeks, I would say. Right. So.
Wonderful, wonderful vision. I think it's gonna, with that scalability, you'll see the audiences grow and grow. Each and every year, more and more people want to show off their, the latest gear that they got off the virtual store, sent directly to them, and then they're just like, wow, I actually bought something that was amazing off the internet, and it's come to my house, and it was exactly as I imagined it from what the digital content had showed us. So, Seth, I have a question directed, more towards you for this one, and everyone else can feel free to jump in. So, as I explained before, I'm a fellow Charlottean, visiting across the pond every now and then, and it's good to see the team, Charlotte Hornets, grow ever since I was watching it back in the '80s, which gives away my age a bit. But it's finally great to see them enter the virtual world. Now, what kind of vision do you have for this in the future? What were your first impressions of it as an end user of MeetKai's technologies?
That's a great question. And you touched on it in the previous discussion or previous question, ease of use. You could simply enjoy this environment within a matter of seconds. And we really hadn't talked about that. It doesn't take a lot of time for someone to be able to click that link and you're instantly in our store. So that drew us. We're certainly going to look at other areas of our arena experience and our business to understand how we can, leverage this opportunity as, again, another touch point for our fans. When you think about it, our sport is covered by nearly over 200 countries in terms of media coverage. And we're broadcast literally in dozens of countries around the world. So for a Hornet fan who can't, again, participate and be here, whether it's on our West Coast here in the United States or across the pond, they have that ability to participate in our experience in a twin environment that's going to connect them a little further. That's what really kind of drew us. And I think that's where we're going to look for other opportunities. How do we expand on this? But I can't think of a better place to start, more impactful place to start with the variety of reach and interest than in a retail environment. Everyone loves to look at and purchase cool gear.
Absolutely. James, Weili, want to jump in on that?
I think I just can't sing enough praise for the Hornets Innovation Group. Hornets really have been great to work with in terms of the innovation group I think saw early on. And I think, that's really the key thing here with us and working with them is that there's been, a very good match between the two organizations in terms of what could be done. And I think it's exciting, right? I mean, it really is telling. I would just say this again, when you're overseas, you see NBA everywhere. And, it's interesting, right? Because, you don't see as much, like just in some of these countries, right, being kind of tangential, but like you don't see as much like American singers or American actors or anything like that as like things that people are wearing shirts of or anything like that in China. But there are NBA players, NBA jerseys, and, there are fans in these countries still, and there's just no replacement, I would say. I mean, in terms of like American culture right now. So I think we're really, really excited about what might be possible in terms of not just across the pond, but across all of Asia and Europe as well.
Absolutely. And this is a very positive impact for better life, right? For people around the globe. And we're extremely proud of the Hornets, and we're very excited to be part of this. So I think this is a very good venture that we drive. It's going to be extremely successful. And once you see this out there, I think the rest of the NBA team and other teams, they're all going to follow the leadership of Hornets, and that's the other CMO will be calling you, say, what's your magic? So.
Excellent commentary. And thanks so much for all your time, everyone, guys. Once again, we have been speaking to several people from MeetKai and also Charlotte Hornets. So we had Seth J. Bennett. He is the Chief Marketing Officer of Charlotte Hornets. We've also had James Kaplan. He is the CEO and co-founder of MeetKai, and also Weili Dai. She is MeetKai's Executive Chairwoman and co-founder. Once again, my name is Cureton, Senior Journalist from XR Today. And if you'd like to follow more conversations like this on the internet, please follow us at the XR News hashtag on Twitter and LinkedIn. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, guys. And until next go round, keep following the news. Bye now.